what kind of age and when was that moment where you kind of knew that, oh, I want to be a performer?
Um, so my mum put me in classes when I was really little. I've got three other sisters, so I think on a Saturday to kind of get rid of us, she put us all in classes. We did like ballet, tap, acting classes, like all the classic Saturday morning classes. So we all did them, and then they decided they didn't want to do it anymore. So they said, we don't want to do it. But I was like, Mum, I really want to stay in the classes. Like, I'm actually really enjoying it. I've met loads of friends. So can I stay? And she said, yeah, yeah, of course. And I just had such an amazing time that I would just wait. I would just wait for school to be over, like all week, just
Yeah.
for the Saturday classes. That's all I wanted to do. I just loved it. And then when I was about 7, I did my first Amdram show. So that's kind of where I started, like the amateur dramatic kind of area. I think my first show was, it was either Bugsy Malone or Annie.
Yeah.
I think it might have been Annie. And I remember I really wanted to be Annie, but I was just a bit too young because I think, I was 7, so that might have just been a little bit too young. So I got the part of Kate, who's one of the orphans, and I just loved it. I loved being on stage. I loved seeing my family in the audience. And yeah, and I've just done amateur dramatics as alongside school, and then obviously
Yeah.
alongside working, and then now I've actually kind of got an opportunity to potentially do it professionally. So really, really good. But that's, yeah, kind of where it all first started.
And then when you were growing up, were there any like shows that stood out when you watched and thought, oh, that's the show that I kind of want to be in?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the show that made me realise like I want to do it was definitely Les Mis, which is quite funny because on Mamma Mia, I sang I Dreamed a Dream, which I love because Les Mis is my favourite show and it got me into theatre.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it in the West End. I actually saw Samantha Barks as Eponine, which I think was 2010, 2011 kind of vibe.
I remember,
I
like,
think it was
yeah, because
then.
I think she was in it when I first saw it. I only saw it kind of, I saw the concert, the 25th anniversary first in the cinema, and
Oh, yeah,
then I saw it
yeah.
live after that.
Yeah, so I saw it in the West End, I think around that time, and she was Eponine, and I didn't really quite understand what was going on, if I'm honest, because I was like 10.
Yeah.
But I just loved it. It really stuck with me. And then my mum bought the DVD for the 25th concert,
Yeah.
which you're talking about, and I would just love it, and I'd have it on repeat, like all the time, because yeah, I just thought it was amazing. So, and I still love it. So it's really stuck with me, and it's my fave.
Yeah. And obviously, as you say, the Amdram side of it, kind of what, I guess the love of kind of performing anyway, but what got you into doing that?
Well, to be honest, because I was quite young, I think my mum was just like, "Oh, you love the classes,
Yeah.
like your theatre company are putting on a show. Like obviously it'll be hard work, like after schools, but like, do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Yes." To me, any opportunity to be on the stage and just to be with my friends, because when I was younger, I just met so many friends through it. It's
Yeah.
such like a community. Amjam is just bringing everyone together, really, and I just loved all the little friends I made, and I was like, "Yeah, I want to do it." And it was Annie, and it was just, yeah, I loved it.
And have you kind of had a standout role that you've performed so far?
Oh, that's a good question. I've done quite a lot of Amjam shows. Um, oh, what's been my favourite role? Have you heard of The Wedding Singer?
Of course, yes.
So I did the musical of that when I was like 18, I think, so a few years ago,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I played Julia, and it was
Yeah.
just like an 80s party with all my friends on stage, and I think that's definitely been my standout role. I loved it. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Hopefully, maybe a professional production this time.
Yes.
But no, I would love to do that again.
Yeah, that's such a great show as well. Then
It's so much
obviously,
fun.
yeah, it's proper like it's got a great soundtrack. If people don't know it as well.
Hmm.
It's so good.
Yeah, every song is a banger.
Yes. Then obviously onto kind of Mamma Mia. That's obviously been the kind of
Yeah.
probably the big one for you, kind of obviously recently. What kind of
Yes. Yeah.
what kind of led you to? I know it was an open audition, but what kind of led you to decide this is the one for me?
So I, so I was obsessed with the BBC shows when they first came out. The Dorothy one and the Nancy
Yeah,
one. But I was always, when they came out, I was way too young. I
yeah,
was literally like, I think when the, I think when the Dorothy one came out, which would be the one I probably would want to do, I think I was 10. So way too young to go for that. And I remember saying, oh, if it comes on again, like if they do another one when I'm a bit older, I'll definitely go for it. And then they just stopped, like they just didn't do them again. So I was a bit like, oh, okay, they're not obviously going to come back. So maybe that won't happen, which is fine. And then I saw on Facebook that they were looking for Sophie and Sky. And honestly, if they did bring those shows back, Sophie would be the one that I would want to do. So I was like, oh, like, this is perfect. So I was like, I'll apply. But honestly, I didn't think anyone would see my application. You know, when you do it, but you're like, I don't think anyone's going to see this. I didn't bother making it a really great application, to be honest, because I just didn't think anyone would see it. So obviously I wrote all about me and sent in like, I sent in a link to my YouTube channel. So I think I was meant to do like a self-tape. But I was like, oh, I'm not going to film it if no one's going to see it. So I just sent in like the link to my YouTube. But obviously, I mean, it got me an audition.
Yeah.
But I think if I knew someone would see it, I probably would have made it maybe a little bit better. And then I got an email saying that my video was successful and they want to meet me. And I was just like, oh, someone did see it. Like, amazing. And you know what? It proves that it's not all scouted, because I was a bit skeptical because I thought, oh, they've probably already found who they want and they're just trying to advertise it, kind of thing. But it actually just proved that they were genuinely actually looking for people to apply, which is good to know, like for future. If they do it again. Yeah. And then I had my first audition in London and that went really, really well. That was actually one of the best days that I've ever had, to be honest. It was so much fun. And it was my first professional audition. So it was a bit scary. But, you know, it was such a good experience. And the panel was so nice. It was David Grimrod and Barney, who's head of talent at ITV. And they just spent like so much time with me. They were like workshopping the songs with me. They made me take my shoes off. And I was like, I don't want to take my shoes off. But I was wearing these heels and they were like, oh, your heels are quite big. You're kind of tripping over a little bit. So just take them off, relax. And I was like, okay, fine. And then, it was just so good. And they spent the time with me and workshopped the songs with me. So I was like, oh, okay. They must like me in some way to kind of, you know, it wasn't just a sing your song, leave kind of thing. So I was like, oh, I got quite a good feeling from it. And then, I ended up getting through to like the interview stages, where they kind of get to know a bit more about your personality. And then, to be fair, there was quite a few stages. Like, I don't really remember them all because there was like questionnaires, loads of phone calls. But I kind of would think, oh, I'm not going to get through to the next bit. I'd always be like, oh, that might be it. Don't get your hopes up. You might not get through to the next bit. Especially because I didn't think I stood a chance getting on the show. But I was like, it's such a good experience. Just even getting this far, like as far as I did. And then I got a call saying I was in the final 50, which I was like, wow. But I didn't think I'd get that call because they called me really late. They gave me like 5 days notice. So I was like, oh, if I was in the final 50, they probably would have told me by now. So I was like, okay, it's what it is. And then I got the call and I was just like, yes. I was like, got a new outfit, prepared all the songs. But to even get to the final 50 for me was such an achievement. I was like, anything from now is a bonus because I got in the final 50. I got to go to the Novello and sing on the West End stage. And I was like, anything from now is a bonus. And then I actually got on the show and I was like, wow. I couldn't believe it, honestly.
But do you think having that kind of, like you say, being your first audition kind of helped you in any way?
Yeah, I definitely think it did. And I think because I wasn't really sure who the panel were. I know that sounds really bad, but I think if I went in there knowing that Barney was head of ITV, knowing that David Grimrod casts everything in the West End and like knowing who he was, that would have added so much more pressure. But I think because I went in there, and it does sound bad, but I think because I went in there not knowing really who anyone kind of was, I was just a bit like, oh, they're just some producers. Like, you know, it's not scary at all. But I think if I knew who they were, I would have gone into panic mode a little bit. So I'm kind of glad. And because it was my first audition, I didn't feel like so much pressure. I was just like, what a great experience to even get an audition. Like, don't think too much about it. You know, don't expect to get on the show or anything. I was just like, just live in the moment and just go for it. And then obviously something did come of it, which was fab. But yeah, it was so great.
What's it like when you kind of have that moment? I don't know where you guys all met the kind of final 14 of you. But what's that moment like
Mhm.
when you are kind of put together? Like, oh, these are my kind of fellow contestants.
Yeah, so all of the girls in the audition process, so in the final 50, we were all mixed. So I did get to meet everyone.
Yeah,
But obviously, we didn't know who was actually going to get on the show. But I became really good friends with like all the girls. Like I'm still in touch with even the girls that didn't make it on the show.
yeah,
I've just made so many good friends. I was actually Desmonda's the first girl I spoke to at the auditions. And obviously she ended up getting on it. So
yeah,
we were just like day one besties. Um, and then when the final 7 was chosen, we had to do 3 weeks of rehearsals
yeah,
in London before we went. So that was a really good time to kind of bond and form the friendships before we actually went to Greece. But
yeah,
the boys, we didn't actually meet them until we were in Greece. Like that was all like legit.
yeah,
So I was a lot more closer with the girls, but I think that's kind of understandable
yeah,
because
of
I had
course.
spent 3 weeks with them before. And then I did become really good friends with the boys. But yeah, no, I love the girls so much though. Like they couldn't have chosen a nicer group to go out with. You know, it's such it is a daunting experience, but to have them there, they were just so supportive, and we all became like sisters by the end.
You not got necessarily the like training background. What's it like? Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
filming kind of months in advance. That then it's kind of going to go out, and then obviously you get the public reaction months later. What's that like for you?
Yeah, so I think when I was out there, like it was a very daunting experience to me. I think because I was the only one, like the only contestant out of boys and girls that hadn't gone to drama school, I did feel slightly like the odd one out in a way. And I wasn't made to feel that by the contestants or anything like that.
Yeah,
But obviously, you do just feel like that because you think, oh, I'm not, and you start having all these thoughts, oh, I'm not good enough to be here. Why was I put on? I can't keep up with the girls. You know, they had all gone to drama schools that I would have dreamed to go to when I was 18, but I couldn't go. So it was hard for me, and obviously, I had such an amazing experience on the show,
yeah,
but you know, obviously, I didn't get really far in the competition. So yeah, I didn't get really far. I definitely think I could have gone further. You know, and I was absolutely gutted when I left. And I think, and it did knock my confidence. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like, and I think when I got home, I, I think I came home with a lot less confidence than what I went out there with, which
yeah,
obviously isn't the ideal scenario, but it's true. You know, I was just, you know, obviously I'd just been eliminated and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, I feel really unconfident, and I'm not sure if musical theatre is for me. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think like
yeah,
my feelings were valid. Um, and then I had time to move on from it. You know, I spent the summer, you know, kind of like not like healing from it because obviously that's quite dramatic, but
yeah,
in a way, just yeah, kind of moving on from it. And then obviously, but it hadn't been aired yet, so I kind of had to like
yeah,
when it was aired, relive all of those feelings that I had. So it was really hard, and I think as well when we first got announced as the cast, and people were kind of commenting, being like, Maisie, you're going to smash it. I already know you've won.
yeah,
You've got nothing to worry about. You're going to smash it. But obviously, like deep down, like I knew that I
yeah,
didn't technically like smash it, but I had to kind of, you know, remain really positive about it because I didn't obviously want to spoil um, where I came in the competition. But I think knowing that in a few weeks you're going to let some people down, I think that was really hard for me.
yeah.
So yeah, it was hard, but obviously I would do the whole thing again, like I really would. Um, but yeah, yeah.
Of course, it's an outrage that you all didn't get like the goodbye song, like you say, like the Dorothy times and all that. It's an
If I'm
outrage.
being honest, Mark, if I'm being honest, we did. We
Oh,
filmed it. It just didn't get shown.
that's even
It didn't get
worse.
shown, which I was gutted about because I think they kept saying like this goodbye song. So we sang "Thank You" for the music in like
Yeah,
our pairs that we were
yeah,
with,
yeah,
which is cheesy. It's cheesy and it's cringe, but it's what we all love and it's what we're all used to.
yeah,
um, but we all sang it as a duet, and it was kind of our last moment to like sell yourself before you're not on the show
yeah,
anymore.
yeah,
Um, but we obviously didn't like we didn't get told about edits and stuff like that. We didn't see anything. We watched it along with everyone else.
yeah.
And obviously I was really gutted when they didn't show it because I was like, oh, like it's
Oh, yeah,
like a nice send off. And obviously
yeah.
they didn't show it, but I think they showed it for
This week, yeah,
they
last
showed it for the
weekend,
last two that
yeah,
left.
last one, yeah,
Yeah, but I think I don't know. It's a bit of a shame. I think everyone should have been able to have that goodbye and that last performance, but obviously we didn't get it. But yeah,
well, then have to release it because They'll put more on YouTube. So I mean, come on, that's what we
I
need.
know. No, I definitely think they should have shown it though.
Yeah,
Just like a last goodbye and
yeah,
like a last performance to kind of be like, here I am.
yeah. Like, this is what I've
Yeah,
got.
but no, we didn't get it.
But it's a great shame. But what's it like, as you say, having that then reaction on social media? What's it like, kind of seeing yourself out there and seeing the reaction?
Honestly, it was a bit crazy. You know, I was getting so many comments and like messages, and if I'm being honest, like everything for me was really positive, which I'm very
Yeah.
lucky about. But I didn't go out searching for things about me.
No, yeah.
Like I would never like Google myself or like look at Twitter or anything like that. I wouldn't purposely read things because I didn't want to come across stuff I didn't want to see.
Yeah.
But obviously, like my friends would send me stuff. Like after episode 2, which was my I Dreamed a Dream, there were loads of really nice tweets about me, and there was just, but I didn't look. I got like
Yeah.
sent them from my friends to be like, oh look what people are saying, and that was just, it was really nice because I didn't think my performance that evening went well. I think I
Yeah.
say it on the show. I think Zoe asks me, and I'm like, oh, it wasn't good. Or I don't know what I said, but something
Yeah.
like that. So to kind of watch, and I was worried about it. Like I was worried about that performance all summer. I was really, really dreading it because we had to wear these in-ear
Oh, yeah.
things, one in each ear, and they didn't turn mine on for my performance, which is great.
Yeah. Usual.
I know, so I couldn't hear myself and I couldn't hear the band. So the whole time I was a bit like, I am panicking right now. But you wouldn't, watching it back, I don't think you would know. And then after, I didn't actually get, so I got good comments, but I did also get quite bad comments, but they didn't show them.
Yeah.
So yeah, so coming off the stage, I was a bit like, oh, I don't think it went well, because they did only show the good comments. But I got, yeah, really nice reaction from the public. Obviously you come across a few bad things.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they said about how like inexperienced I was, and a lot of people would say she's not ready for a main role, but like you see stuff like that. But the majority of things were really, really lovely. So I feel very lucky. And obviously when I left, a lot of people were like, she shouldn't have left, and there was a bit of like an uproar, which was great. No, I'm joking. But no, just yeah, really, really nice. But it was weird. It was weird being on TV and watching myself and having people comment about me and talk about me.
Yeah.
I was like just very new, because obviously none of us had gone through that before, ever in our lives. So it was a new experience, but it was just so, I mean, what an amazing experience though.
Yeah. And what's the kind of biggest thing you've learned during that experience?
It sounds cringe, but I do think I need to believe in myself more. I think going out there, I was very, oh, I'm the weakest, like I'm this, I'm that, they're all better than me. But do you know what? And that's how I felt when I was out there. But watching the show back, I was like, why was I even worried? Because I thought I was, you know, I was good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas I had all these feelings like, oh, like I'm not as good, and I was dreading watching all my performances back because I was like, obviously I got eliminated reasonably early on. I was like, I must have been bad, you know. I was like, I must have not been good, hence why I got eliminated. But watching it back, I was like, no, you were actually good, you were, and you should have believed in yourself and you should have trusted yourself more. So I think even though I did struggle with confidence coming off the show, I think watching it back and fast forward to now, I'm like, no, like have that confidence, because, you know, great stuff has come from the show, and I think my performances were good, and I'm proud of them, and I'm proud of myself for doing it. So yeah.
You should be. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's amazing achievement. Just, like you say, even getting to
the
final sevens, like such a huge thing. So
I know.
it.
And I think for me, I had to change my mindset quite a lot.
Yeah.
I think before I was just like being really horrible to myself, like you're awful, you can't sing, you're this, you're that. And then I was like, no, change your mindset. I think if they had said to you, I say to myself, if they had said to you at the final 50 auditions, you can come on the show and you're going to leave episode 4, but you're going to have 3 good performances and you're going to be on the show, do you still want to come and do it? I would have jumped at the chance, and I would have been like, yes, 100%, get me on there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think once I changed my mindset and I was just more grateful to even had the opportunity, that's when I was like, okay, like, you know, so yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, like, as you say, like the Dorothy programs and stuff of the past, hopefully, like, look how many of them have gone on to amazing things. So come on, in like a few years,
No, exactly.
you're all
Yeah.
going to be megastars in a few years.
Oh, hope so.
Fingers crossed. Then what's life now like after the show is kind of finished? And I know you're kind of doing some training now. Are you doing training now?
Yeah. So when I got home, so obviously when you get eliminated, it's literally next plane home in the morning. So
Yeah.
it's a bit savage. But I got a phone call from one of the producers when I just got home, and they said, "Are we okay to pass your phone number on to Judy Kramer and David Grimrod?" And I was just like, "Yeah, like you do that. Like
Yeah.
I'm fine with that." I didn't know why. They were like, they want to speak to you like urgently, and obviously I wasn't sure what the reason like was for.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, of course. And then David wanted to set up like a Zoom call with me. So I did that a few days later, and I spoke to him, and he kind of said, "What are your like next steps? Like, what do you want to do now?" And I was like, "I don't know." I've only been home a day. I was like, I'm not sure. And he said, "I think you are good enough to do musical theatre as a career. Like, I think you are." He was like, I think it would be beneficial for you to just have a bit of training, just to, which I agreed with. I was like, yeah, 100%. Like, I didn't feel ready to go into like anything at that moment. And then he said, "Oh, I know a school. I'm friends with the principal from the school, which is obviously London School of Musical Theatre."
Yeah.
And he said, "This is the principal's email and phone number. Set an audition up and see if you can get in the school." And I was like, okay. So I got an audition for London School of Musical Theatre. I went to the audition. I got in the school, but obviously it's a very expensive school. So I was just like, I got my place, but I was like, I don't really think I can afford to go there. But I don't know. I had like a little bit of a feeling, like he recommended it and stuff like that. And then he phoned me and said, "Judy Kramer really wants to pay your fees and she wants to give you a full scholarship for the school."
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God, what?
Yeah.
And then she contacted me, and then we spoke on the phone, and we've like been texting and stuff, and she's just lovely, and I just can't thank her enough. Because when I was such at a low point with confidence, the fact that them two, they really believed in me, that kind of gave me a bit of a boost. And I was like, no, actually, you can do this, because they wouldn't have done this for you if they didn't think you were good enough to do it. So at the moment, I am at LSMT for short, that's what it's called. And I started there in September. And so I was there when the show was on, but I couldn't say that I was there because I would have ruined it, that I didn't win. So I was like, okay. I was like, keep quiet about it for now, because I don't want people to think, oh, she's obviously there, so she didn't win. But obviously now I'm off the show, I'm okay to like talk about it. And I love it there. I've improved so much, even just from being there since September. And I've got my confidence back, and I'm loving it. And I've met so many amazing new friends. It's going too quick though. It's going so fast. I'm literally nearly finished term 2, and then it's Christmas.
Mad.
And then in January it's going to fly. And then I'll be out there in the big wide world. Yeah.
But then say, obviously, other than Sophie in Manville, if someone was to offer you a role tomorrow, what role would you want it to be?
Oh, that's such a good question. I would. That's a hard question. Can't spring that on me.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I'd love to do something like Hairspray, where it's a bit more of like, because I love the feel good shows. Obviously I love like, all the dramatic shows and stuff, but I think just one where it's like I said, The Wedding Singer earlier, like the ones where they are just a party on stage. So something like Hairspray. I'd love to do Bonnie in Bonnie and Clyde. I'm obsessed with that soundtrack. I have been for years. Or I love Ghost. I'd love to do Molly in Ghost. Do you know what though? At this point, I'll take anything. Literally.
Anything.
Whatever you have, I'll do it.
Get you in the door. Yeah, that's the way.
Yeah, literally. But do you know what? Even though I didn't win the role of Sophie, it's still, I'm not finished yet with that. Like I would still kill to do it. And I think, just because I didn't win it, like hopefully it's not over for me. Like I would still love to do it at one point. But you never know.
Well, you're friends with Judy Kramer, so come on.
Friends.
There we go. Should get you in. Well, fingers crossed, though, for that for you. You're gonna be great going forwards. Then I have
Oh, thank you.
some like general questions I ask everyone when I interview them.
Mm-hmm. Hit me.
So, what is your favourite show?
Oh, um, I like Les Mis,
Yeah,
but I feel like it is a little bit of a basic answer, but like I just love it, and because it is the show that got me into knowing it's what I wanted to do.
yeah,
It's just I just love it, and the music is just beautiful, and it's like nothing I've ever heard before. And I'm just obsessed with it. And the 25th concert is my favourite version of it.
you've kind of talked about kind of confidence and stuff, but what then keeps you motivated to perform?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I mean, obviously, like I'm an Amdram queen.
Yeah,
And I think what keeps me motivated is seeing how like Amdram does bring people together. And I think it's just such a lovely community. And I think you get people from all different kind of walks of life. Like you could literally be like a doctor that's in the same show as like a lawyer. Because obviously everyone's got like full-time jobs, but they just do it on the side because they want to do it, and they're not getting anything from it. They're not getting paid from it. If anything, you're paying to do it. Um, you're just doing it because you love being on the stage. And I think for me now, what keeps me motivated is knowing that I was that. I was, in Amdram working on the side, but now I've been given an opportunity to potentially do it professionally. I think knowing that I could be the role model for someone else,
yeah,
that's in that situation, thought the same as me. Oh, you'll never make it. You didn't go to drama school. You're that, like, knowing that I could, potentially be a role model for someone else. That's definitely keeps me motivated and makes me just want it more, because I want to be the proof that you can do it.
yeah. I think you will be. But this is the big deep question I ask everyone. Simply, what
Okay.
does theatre mean to you?
Oh, yeah. Theatre is just everything. I think, what I just said, it just brings everyone together. Um, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. It just means everything, and I've just loved it from such a young age, and it's just always been a part of my life. And I just really want to do it, and I just really want to do it as my career. And I never thought I'd be able to. But now I'm like, no, you will
Yeah.
do it. It will happen for you. So yeah, love it.
So, where can people then keep up to follow your journey from now?
Um, so I'm posting a lot on socials. I think, I have had a little bit more of a following since the show, and a lot of messages and a lot of people that want to kind of see what I'm doing and follow my journey. And so I've been posting a lot on my Instagram and my TikTok. Like, I've done like a little like day in the life at drama school video. And I'm hoping to do some more stuff on my YouTube channel, because I've got a YouTube channel, but I've been really bad and inactive on it for
Yeah,
ages. But I'm going to try and bring it back. So yeah, all my socials, I'm going to be trying to just keep everyone updated, and it's nice that people actually do care and actually do want to know
yeah,
what I'm doing. I would just love one day to be like, guys, I got a professional job, I did it. So hopefully that day will come
it
one
will.
day.
It will one day soon. It will.
One day soon, hopefully, when I finish drama school.
Yeah, of course. But Maisie, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure to
Oh,
talk
thank you
to.
so much for having me. It's been so
So much
much
fun.
fun.